saying, who are the gays for Palestine? And they have a significant amount of gays for Palestine. Now, I think I did very well with the gay vote, okay? I even played the gay national anthem as my walk-off, okay, for my campaign. And I think it probably helped me, but I did great with no Republicans ever gotten the gay vote like I did, and I'm very proud of it. I think it's great.
This is Donald Trump calling in to Fox News, the Five, when we're currently going through like 5 different crises at one time. The Iran war is only compounding on top of the tariff crisis Americans are going through, the healthcare crisis, the Epstein cover-up. All of this together is painting a pretty dark midterms for the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is bragging about the gay vote. Do they even pull the gay vote? I've never seen any actual evidence that Republicans do better in the gay vote, and I highly doubt that. But let's walk through Donald Trump's call in to Fox News, the Five, because they do ask him about the war. He makes some pretty stunning admissions about the war, and even makes some pretty stunning admissions about Obama, specifically President Obama's jab during the White House Correspondents' Dinner back in 2011, when he said, Donald, at least I will be president and you won't. Many people theorize that moment right there got Donald Trump to, it lit a fire under his ass and made him want to enter politics. He talks about it. He rants about it. But first, let's start off with the war that this administration is currently botching. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed below. And let's start off with this clip of him ranting about B-2 bombers. Let me remind you, Trump keeps claiming that we've won every few days, but we're still asking for $200 billion for more war, sending more troops to the Middle East. The 82nd Airborne Division is being sent to the Middle East. Donald Trump has overseen dozens of U.S. service members dying, and we replaced the 86-year-old Khamenei with his 30-year younger, more radical son who is purging the moderates. Let's take a listen to this.
How do you deal with people who might be disappointed because they voted, let's say they voted for you on the assumption of no wars, and then this happens and it's inconsistent with their wishes? What would you say to them?
Well, I have to do something in terms of making America great and keeping America great. And when you have lunatics with nuclear weapons and the power is beyond belief, I will tell you, as a president, I get to see it. My uncle was a great professor at MIT, and he knew more about nuclear at the time.
Lord have mercy. He's doing the MIT thing. Lord have mercy.
Than anybody. He told me stories that were horrible in terms of the power, both beautiful in terms of putting it to good use, but really bad for destruction purposes. And his statements from years ago were, he really got it.
Okay, I keep saying this, but every time I watch Fox News, it's like a portal back to 2005, or how I imagined Fox News in 2005 would be. They're playing clips of infrared unclassified footage of strikes happening in Iran from the U.S. Central Command, while a dumbass president calls in and explains what we're doing amidst this war. Only this time, it's like Bush with extra dementia, extra narcissism, add a little bit of mental illness in there, and let's continue here.
Mr. President, Kayleigh McEnany here. I do want to ask you about the breaking news. You just put out on Truth Social that you will be pausing energy plant destruction by 10 days to Monday, April 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern time because the negotiations are going very well. I would never ask you to reveal to the public specifics, but could you broadly characterize where we are at?
Well, the Iranians asked me to do that, and I was not happy with them because I made a statement that we're having productive negotiations. I don't know that they get there. Maybe they do. Maybe they won't. I mean, look, in a certain sense, we've already won because we've knocked out their Navy. We've knocked out their Air Force, completely knocked out their Air Force.
I debunk this on the show all the time, but their Air Force is older than the Revolution. Their Air Force is 50 years old. This is not a bragging feat. Their Navy is also equally as old and worn down. It's as old and decrepit as Donald Trump himself. Bombing the Iranian Air Force is something we could have done at any time. It was never a threat to us unless we actively went to war with them. So Trump is bragging about a nothing burger, and what have we gotten in return? More debt, dozens of dead U.S. troops, and no substantive change in the regime of Iran. I'm going to continue, but make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the Adam Mockler feed. We are leading with the coverage of Iran, and we are the fastest growing Gen Z independent media company on the internet. We serve content for everybody of all ages, very diverse audience, but all of our crew is Gen Z, young men and women working. So thank you all. Let's get to 2 million and let's continue with this rant.
Just about completely knocked out. We knocked out 154 ships, and pretty good ships. In fact, I said,
the question is that I asked Scott Jennings that I never really got to get an answer of is, if we've won this war and their military is completely decapacitated, why can't we get a single ship through the Strait of Hormuz? It's a simple question. They have no answer.
why didn't we just take them instead of sinking them? We could have used them ourselves, right? But they like showing how tough they are. They like them at the bottom of the sea probably a little bit better. But think of it. We knocked out their Navy. We knocked out their Air Force. We knocked out most of their missiles. They're down to about 9%. We knocked out their missile launchers, which is a big deal because without the missile
Okay, then let's get some ships through the Strait of Hormuz so that gas prices can go down. Oh, wait, we can't at all.
Knocked out their Air Force. We knocked out most of their missiles. They're down to about 9%. We knocked out their missile launchers, which is a big deal because without the missile launchers, the missiles don't do very well. You can't go to your window and say, let's throw a missile out of the air. And we knocked out all of their...
This man is not instilling confidence in me right now. He then keeps ranting.
But they asked me if they would, Kayleigh, importantly, they said to me, very nicely, through my people, could we have more time? Because we're talking about tomorrow night, which is pretty quick. And if they don't do what they have to do, I will knock out their power plants. So he said, does that include nuclear? Because they have nuclear, plenty of money. They have a lot of money, and they built nuclear and they built regular power plants, but they're massive and very expensive, billions of dollars. And so I gave them a 10-day period. They asked for 7.
Again, if you transported us back to 2005 to watch Fox News, it would be a decrepit president ranting about how this war is justified. I now want to show you the clip that Donald Trump begins ranting about. It's when Obama roasts him back in 2011.
Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
Look at his face.
What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac?
He's saying he's a conspiracy theorist.
Putting aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night. Well handled, sir. Well handled. Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
Oh my God. The crazy thing is Trump basically has done this to the Kennedy Center. He has done this to half of the country. Just put his name on it. Trump seems pissed throughout the entire thing. And then you all know Obama ends with the joke saying, at least I'll get to be president, Donald Trump. Well, Trump addresses this on Fox News today.
I asked to do the roast.
Well, I would love it. Actually, if you would do it, I'd accept it. If they would do that, I would accept that 100%. But, I haven't done it because right from the beginning, I was treated rather rudely and crudely. I won the election in 2016. It was one of the greatest elections ever. And you were all witness to it. And I had but they were so nasty. The press was so nasty. And so I didn't do it. And, there's this theory that I was there while Barack Hussein Obama was speaking and he was hitting me a little bit. Actually, it was very nice. And I loved it. I really loved it. I was saying to my wife, our first lady, our movie star first lady, I always say there's only room in a family for one star. This is serious. This could be a problem. But she's a movie star. Can you believe it? But I was saying to her,
What? These side tangents are wild.
I love this. I'm having a good time because every joke was about me, and
He loves it because every joke is about him.
I sort of liked it. I can handle that stuff. And they said, I was so upset with that evening that I decided that evening to run for president. Well, it wasn't, but it was at the White House dinner. It had nothing to do with my running for president. I actually enjoyed it, but I never did it. And
it very clearly hurt his ego, but to be fair, he had been tinkering with running for president since the early 2000s, and he had created a website in 2011. He had visited Iowa. I think Obama probably just poured fuel on the fire. But to continue, this is the dumbest thing. I want to end with the dumbest thing that Trump keeps repeating over and over, saying that we've actually enacted regime change in Iran.
Against the regime, which is largely decimated. You could really say we have regime change because they've all been killed. They're all dead. Nobody really knows. The reason they gave us the 8 chips is I wanted them to prove that we're dealing with somebody that's allowed to deal. And they say, we will give you a present. And the present was 8 chips. We're going to give you 8 chips. And they actually made it 10. It was 8. And I heard on one of your shows.
Was it 8? Was it 10? Why would he switch it right there? The reality is, Donald Trump thinks that Iran is Venezuela, but it is not. He got away with Venezuela because he decapitated the head, he kidnapped Maduro, and the rest of the body sort of fell in line. Now, the regime is still standing, but it's a different scenario. In Iran, the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, is so heavily embedded in the institutions, the banks, the educational structures, the colleges, that you can't just regime change a heavily embedded, ideologically radical group by killing one person. It's not one person. It's not one Navy. It's not one ship. The IRGC is very deeply embedded. We'll continue to cover this on the Adam Mockler feed. Make sure you're subscribed below. Double check, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.